Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's Sunday, August 18th, 2019. 230 days deep. August 18th. We will not forget what happened a couple weeks ago in El Paso, in Dayton, Ohio. I told y'all last week, recall and review. I told y'all last week, look at that episode of CNN special, The State of Hate. I told y'all to discuss, if Ricky Smiley said, other people said, if your pastor or anybody in leadership, anybody that you're listening to that has a platform and they're not addressing today's issues, you might need to consider who you're listening to. If anybody in leadership who has a platform, who has a say, who has a voice, God has given you a platform and you're not addressing today's issue, you might want to reconsider who you're listening to. Don't get caught up in the mumbo jumbo. Don't get caught up in the distractions. Because it's still, most of the people in El Paso have been buried. Most of the people in Dayton have been buried. They haven't talked about the issue all week. That's normally how it goes, Lady Bell. When tragedy strikes, we talk about it for the first 2 or 3 days. We're upset about it the first 2 or 3 days, then it fades away. Sort of like the same problems in our home. Always home first. Sort of the same way the problems in our home. Something comes up, an argument ensues. We get mad, we fuss and fight, but we don't address the issue. We brush it under the rug and we forget about it until what? It happens again. Dayton, Ohio, El Paso, Texas was just 2 weeks ago. Anybody in authority who you're listening to on a regular, anybody who has a platform, anybody who said God has given them a voice, anybody who said God has raised them up, but you got up this morning, you went to church, you're on your way to church, you went to church, you're on your way to church, and the dude in the pulpit don't even mention Dayton, Ohio. The dude in the pulpit don't even mention El Paso. The dude in the pulpit don't even mention anything that's going on. The dude in the pulpit don't mention that the president told Israel not to allow country representative into the country. If the dude in the pulpit who said God has given him a word, who said God has given him authority, who said God has anointed him, but he's not addressing the issues. Lady Bell is a little stunned because we was going one direction, and of course, always I end up going another direction. Are you with me?
I'm with you.
Are you with me? We have some topics we want to talk about because I wanted to keep it light today because we don't had a good time all weekend. We've been dancing. We went to see Mary J. But hey, the issue doesn't change. The problem doesn't change. The pressure doesn't go away. The pain doesn't go away. You have to deal with the pain. You have to deal with the problem. You have to deal with the pressure. You can't just sweep it under the rug. You can't just avoid it. You can't just not talk about it. That's why we always say home first. You got to take care of home. When everything is said and done, you got to take care of home. When you have that argument, you got to sit down and have a conversation. You just can't say, won't he do it? You just can't say the best is yet to come. You just can't say that. You just can't go to church for 1 hour and jump and shout. You didn't speak all the way to church. Hug everybody in church. Then get in the car, drive back home, and then you don't speak. You don't talk about the topic. You don't talk about the issue. You don't talk about the problems. You don't talk about the pain. You don't talk about the pressure, and they're not going to go away. They're not going to go away. You have to address them. Dayton, Ohio, El Paso, Texas was just 2 weeks ago. That first week, they talked about gun control. They talked about gun violence. They talked about the uprising racism. They talked about the hatreds in this country. This week, you didn't hear nothing about it. The people have been laid to rest. The funerals have been taking place. But the families are still hurting. There's family in El Paso, Texas that are hurting. There's family in Dayton, Ohio that are hurting. There's people in Vegas that are hurting. That happened almost a year and a half ago. You got to address the issue. Let's take it back home. Whatever pain you and your wife is dealing with, you got to address the pain. Whatever problem that you're dealing with, you have to address the problem. Whatever pressure you are dealing with, you have to address them. Going to church, getting a 1-hour energy child, singing a worship song do not make you a worshiper. It makes you a participant. I'm going to say that one more time. Singing a worship song do not make you a worshiper. It makes you a participant. Singing a praise song do not make you a praiser. It makes you a participant. If you're not praising at home, go to church and praise. Go to church and worship. That's the easy part. But it do not make you a praiser or a worshiper. Even the rocks cry out because they know even the rocks cry out. So singing a praise song do not make you a praiser. Singing a worship song do not make you a worshiper. If you only do it on Sunday, you're a participant. You're part of the audience. If you're not doing it at home, it all boils down to coming back home, praising at home, worshiping at home, praying at home. That is the hard part. Getting up at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock a.m. and working out with your wife. That's the hard part. Praying with your wife. Reading the word together with your wife. That's the hard part. Just like some of these dudes in the pulpit, they don't want to talk about it. Recall and review. I told y'all in 2017, pray with her, your wife, pray for her, your wife, pray over her, your wife. Your pastor's not going to tell you that because he's not doing it. I told y'all in 2017, make love to her. You're a married couple. Your wife, you should be making love at least 2 to 3 times a week. Your pastor's not going to tell you that because he's not doing it. Recall and review. Making love, having sex, having intimacy 2 to 3 times a week. Your pastor's not going to tell you that because he's not doing it. Now, recall and review, I'm talking about a healthy couple. Your wife is healthy. You're healthy. There's no health issues. You should be making love. You should be having intimacy with your wife on a regular basis. Your pastor's not going to tell you that. He's not doing it. He's not going to tell you to pray for her 3 times a day. Pray with her, pray over her, because he's not doing it. He's not going to tell you to make love to her on a consistent basis because he's not doing it. He's not going to tell you to hug her. He's not going to tell you to touch her. He's not going to tell you to love her as the weaker vessel because he's not doing it. I've been going to church for 30 years. I hear him saying it, but I don't see him doing it. It starts at home. Pray for your wife at home. Have worship service at home. Read the word together at home. That is the hard part. Everybody want to do the easy part. Nobody wants to do the hard part. Nobody wants to get up and work out. You think we want to get up and work out? No, it hurts getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, 2 or 3 times a week. Nobody wants to do that. That's the hard part. Getting up on a Sunday, putting on my Sunday outfit, putting on my Sunday face. That's the driving across town for 30 minutes. That's the easy part. Sitting in the congregation for an hour. That's the easy part. Doing a song and a dance, 2 praise songs, a worship song, 15 minutes of the word, hug and kiss and walk out, and then you still the same way what you was when you got there. You got to do this at home. This is the hard part. This ain't easy. We got pain. You don't want to know our pain. You can't deal with my pain. You don't want to know my problems. You can't deal with my problem. You don't want to know my pressure. I don't think you can deal with my pressure. Even Jesus said, if it's possible, let this cup pass me by. He knew what was in the cup. You don't know what's in that man's cup. You don't know what's in that woman's cup. This is the hard part. It ain't easy. It's not easy getting up praying. It's not easy getting up reading the word together. That's the hard part. When you can push past the pain, when you can push past the pressure, when you can push past the problem and say, okay, baby, we got to get past that. We got to get through this. We got to get over this. We just can't say the best is yet to come. We just can't say, won't he do it? No, you got to do it, dude. You got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. You got to lay hands on her. You got to speak life into her. You got to speak encouragement into her. You got to speak love into her. Then I'm going to end it on this note, because when a man finds a wife, a friend of mine got married 23 years ago. And I was his best man. And I got up and I said, when a man finds a wife, a man finds a good thing. When a man finds a wife, a man finds a good thing. Unfortunately, him and his wife got divorced. And he said to me, he said, Rob, you know what you said to me? You know when you gave my toast, what you said? I said a lot. He said, but you said, when a man finds a wife, when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. And he obtains favor from the Lord. I said, man, you remember that? He said, yeah, that scripture always ran in my head. He said, but you know what? When you said that, I realized I didn't find a wife. That's what he said. When a man finds a wife, he's going to nourish her. He's going to strengthen her. He's going to encourage her. He's going to pray for her. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But he's not going to wait for Sunday. Team Bell, 1 + 1 will always be
1.
2 is bigger, but it's still
1.
1 1,000, but 2
10,000.
Do the hard part. Pray for her, pray over her, and pray with her. Team Bell, we out.
Recorded. Yeah, you can talk.
You want to wait up there? I'm going to go get some balloons for Joyce.
Oh, okay. Alright.
I would say Miami, but it's all on the phone. I don't know if they're with Maryland or...
I'll just go sit up here.
Alright, I feel better. You want anything?
Yeah, she called me. It was collection for Joyce and Joy. Yeah.
Jermaine. Oh, yeah.
So I
I couldn't think of his name yesterday. That's it, Jermaine.
Yeah, because he said he may not come this week.
Yeah. I thought Sharon would have been here.
Sharon's not coming. Her eyes are giving her problems.
Oh.
I talked to Pat. And
My
Luke's
girlfriend's
not
coming. You
coming
better
in.
be
Who?
Luke.
Oh no, what's wrong with him?
He got gout.
You will. She's working at Bellagio, remember?
He came Friday to Doolittle, but he was walking.
Hey.
He was walking a little strange.
Oh wow.
So he
That gout
called
ain't
her
no
this
joke.
morning. No, that gout is not.
My father-in-law used to get it a lot.
It was attacked or something.
They say it's got something to do with what you eat.
And not drinking enough water, which I don't do. Something I was supposed to ask you, and I can't remember what.
You're going to love this house, Wanda. I bet. You're going to love it. I know what I will.
I can't remember what it is.
Yeah.
Her wife called last. How was it?
It's the model.
It was worse than $75. Okay. See, I can't afford all this. $75.
They didn't feed us. You just got order.
Wait a minute, you didn't get a dinner? No, I don't go to stuff like that.
So how about that?
Who was the entertainer?
Well, there's no entertainment. It's a DJ. It's 2 DJs. And the best DJ they say at the end, DJ Benzo. We like DJ Benzo.
And
Nobody
he,
did not feed
you know, because it's Florida and there's a lot of rain. Why you thought about moving there? Oh no, no. My neighbor across the street used to live in Boca.
Girl, for
You know, that's what
$75?
Judy used to do.
And then he was last time.
Yeah, it's right
See,
there.
that's why I don't go. And then the other one was $125.
What was that?
The white car, I mean the 100 black men. It was $125 about 4 or 5 months ago. I don't know that
didn't go to
now.
that one.
Who's gonna give up $250?
Well, we did it to support,
It's been 30
you know,
years.
but
I don't do it.
The doors is closed. An hour went by fast though. I knew it would. Yeah. You miss Mark?
Is that
Pat.
oh, okay.
So when's the next
Rob
trip?
had to go get the
I mean, other than the Florida.
Oh, did it? How your mom doing?
You want to focus
She's
more on the
good.
renovation?
Somebody's trying to get in that
Yeah,
building.
it's
It's all
expensive though with the,
taken
what he's
in.
gonna do,
There's
the
a few
garages and what else is
openings,
gonna
not
be included
many.
in the
Is it?
garage and what?
That's
it.
It
We'll
is
be- we're-
gorgeous. That place
It's
is
doing like a
Really?
phase one.
Yes.
But the long term is to have it like a studio.
Good morning.
Good
Good morning.
Is to have it like a studio downstairs.
They got
So who you
like
gonna
the
let
gym
Baby
and
your brother? No, we gonna
twice she taught the aerobics.
Who did?
You gotta let me be your brother. I'm not there on weekends.
See,
She's
she needs
started.
it.
That's the thing, we don't
This
want
is
her
so
to
She
do
goes
like
to the
anything.
exercise
I'm not there
room.
doing
She said the
something.
one machine she can only do it for 5 minutes. I'm just happy that she's going.
She's happy.
And she went. They had a pinochle thing in the bid with. She said she went, but she didn't play because she says, you know, some people, you know, take it real serious and stuff.